so thanks everyone and welcome to the semester / academic year meeting. So I want to share today's agenda, keeping it brief, keeping it simple. I want to start off and get those announcements out of the way. So that's first in the agenda, and congratulations too, because that's worth mentioning. Then I'm gonna go with the share your chapter projects and stories. We have a couple of SEAS chapter grant awardees representatives joining us today. So I'm excited to hear from them how their projects have been going and overall just their stories about their chapters. And if you're from your own chapter, maybe it doesn't matter if you didn't get a grant, you're new and whatnot. If you want to share your stories, challenges and whatnot, I want you to feel free to share those as well. And then a couple of reminders, because some things to remind you of. Right, so over to the announcements. So we sent an email about this in early April. So there were some changes around the annual SEAS chapter reports. Essentially this year, we're gonna have, this report will be divided into two parts. The first one is due on May 31st, and it's essentially for you to submit a brief report of your chapter activities. And then the second part is due during the fall, October 1st, and there you will submit an updated roster with your chapter, board officers, and members. Again, because starting that new year, you probably have some turnover. If your officers stay the same from this year, that's fine, but we ask you to submit this and start with this clean slate and have the most up-to-date information from you. And so the question is, but why, Sandra? Why the change? Why the reporting? Well, it's not to create more work for you. Again, we're trying to make this as streamlined and efficient as possible. We've eliminated things that are not really necessary from the online form. This is all also, I should point out that this is all submitted online. So essentially, the information that you provide allows you to allocate funding, monies, and be more supportive of regional events that you would like to host or you need us to support, and overall broaden the impact of and the mission of the SEAS program. And just overall submitting the annual report helps us support you. So, but we need that information from you. And with these annual report changes, there comes also changes around the chapter status. As you may or may not know, what has been the designations for chapters is active or inactive. That's also changing around the actual reporting. And now we have essentially 4 statuses: active in good standing, active, inactive, and historical. And all the information around the benefits and how they fluctuate from status to status, that's on our website. But essentially you want your chapter to stay inactive in good standing, to take full advantage of the benefits of being part of the SEAS program. And so how do you achieve that? Well, it's quite straightforward. By staying active, that means have elected officers and organize activities, and then submitted the annual chapter report, part 1 and 2. If you submit the chapter report, you should have elected officials and you should be organizing activities. So any questions around the chapter report status that I could address now? Feel free to unmute or drop your questions in the chat. But if there are no, yes, Susan.
I'm hoping that there would be no penalty, but my current seeds officers or founding officers are graduating, and we might need an extra day, like June 1st, so that we can get in that first part of the report. I mean, are we going to get dinged for missing that deadline by 24 hours?
You won't be penalized. I mean, if you can notify us with an anticipation, which I'm hearing you now, you are, we can be flexible around that.
Thank you. It's just they're so overburdened, and
Of
so
course.
I'm trying to respect their time. They want to do it. I'm like, I would do it for you, but they want to do it, and so I told them I would ask the question. So thank you.
No, that's fine. We understand this is, yes, this is a new change, so we're flexible in that sense. But thank you for letting us know with anticipation. Anyone else? And again, if you have additional, there's more information on the website, and you can email me directly, or you can email the seeds email address, seeds@esa.org. If any questions pop up during this period. Well, this is the phase of the congratulations. We had this year's Seeds National Bio Blitz, and in case you didn't know, University of Puerto Rico at Bayamón was the winning Seeds chapter for this year. So congratulations. I think the president is online.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hello, hi, Paula.
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy with this announcement.
Yeah, I had to place that here because I hope you have fun. I hope like all the rest of the Seeds chapters that participated, here they are, the other 9. You all had fun, even though it was virtual. This is some friendly competition going on and throughout the Seeds chapter network, and that's what we want to do. So anyway, I hope you have fun observing nature around you during that Earth Week. All right. So, and then thanks again. It wouldn't be possible without your participation. So thank you. And also for those who are graduating, congratulations, you made it. So if anybody graduating now, I don't know, raise your hand or yay. All right, yeah, I have to say congratulations. It's like, yeah, such a huge milestone. So congratulations, guys. And again, the Seeds program doesn't end when you graduate. We'll still be here. As Fred, you can talk more about that, but we have an entire Seeds alumni network and ways that you can still stay engaged, not only with Seeds, but ESA as a whole. So don't be a stranger, okay? But congratulations, right? So now let's jump into your Seeds chapters this year. So I really want to hear from our Seeds chapter grant awardees. We have representatives from Temple Seeds and from the University of California, Riverside. These are 2 out of the 7 Seeds chapter grant awardees this year. And yeah, I have a couple of photos and videos that you guys have sent during this time. So Temple, you're up first. I'm gonna give a little bit of an intro, but I'm gonna ask you some questions and I'm gonna let you elaborate on this experience. So Temple Seeds project is titled Building Temple Seeds. They are a new chapter. They basically applied in 2021, so they're technically new. And they applied for this grant, and essentially was to build up this new Seeds chapter. So they did a variety of events. They ranged from trivia nights to a trip to the museum and insectarium, and paint a pot and pizza night. And I placed just the Instagram link so you can follow their activities. So I wanted to share, because one of the videos that I saw, I wanted to ask Temple, what is going on in the insectarium? Because I saw a video, I wasn't sure what was going on. One second. Oh. But do we have anybody from Temple Seats here?
Yeah, I can speak about it.
Okay. Well, I look for the video that I'm talking about. Yes, like I read about it in your report because you guys were the first one to submit the report. Thank you. The chapter report, different report, just for the grant awardees.
Yeah.
But so what would you say were those? Let's start with the negative first. What were like the main challenges you would say, not only of this project, but I guess that's like a chapter, a new chapter, right, in your institution?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was our first working semester, actually holding events and trying to get people to participate. I mean, our first challenge was not having any money, so the grant solved that issue, which we're really thankful for. And to be honest, I was really happy with how our e-board worked together to put these events on, and we worked pretty seamlessly. Everyone was really excited. The hardest part is, and this might just be a Temple issue because the ecology program there is up and coming. There's not a lot of students who are super into ecology. So we had a hard time finding like repeat attendees, someone who's like excited about it and could maybe take the board over when the rest of us graduate. And also just getting people who signed up to make sure they attend. I think that's just a general college student problem. For the Insectarium, we planned about 20 people to come, and only about 10 showed up. Half of them, about 5 of them at least, dropped out the morning of, which is a shame because like we paid for that trip and everything. I see somebody else has that issue. So I don't know if there's any way around that, solving that, making students accountable because they are just college students and trying to do everything. But that was definitely our biggest issue.
Yeah, it's having a balance, and I'm almost afraid to say or think that that's only exclusively for college students. I think it's something that is happening across the board. And again, that's part of my concern organizing these types of meetings, because I feel like it could be helpful, but it's like, how do I make it not overwhelming? What is it, the Zoom fatigue? So it's one of those things. It's like a balance. It's like this weird dance and finding like the spot, like where is the good balance spot? Edith, you have your hand up, so if you have questions, I just want you to have the space.
Oh, sorry, that was for whoever's graduating.
Oh,
Raise your
okay.
hand.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Fred, you have your hand up. I don't think you're graduating.
I do. I wanted to add something to Isabella, which isn't, having an interest in ecology per se is not a requirement of the program. Showing an interest in environmental sciences is. And so try to diversify the people you're trying to reach. I came from an institution that had a really small like wildlife management program. And when I say small, I was talking like 30 students a year. That was it. And so creating a space where it wasn't, where people creating activities that were fun to people outside of necessarily our science. So, creating activities that outreach and community enrichment, and whether it be a beach cleaning, like everybody can identify with that. Like that's a great way to spend, a Saturday or a Sunday. Or just knowing like we had a really fun camping trip every year that like people would kill to go. Literally, like the list would fill up within 24 hours of being announced because it was just a really fun event. And we would like take over an entire campground, which, isn't really that expensive. And so we had the place to ourselves. We would invite biologists over the weekend, and it was literally like guided hikes. And then at night, a college camp in, so things like that were like super fun. And again, it brought in people from, friends of friends that knew nothing about our science, but yet had a great experience there learning about it.
Yeah, I do want to say we didn't limit our events to any specific major. We had business majors, all sorts of people. My concern though is just like people who are really passionate about it are the ones who are gonna take it over and lead this club in the future. But oh, absolutely, I would never want to leave anyone out.
Yeah, no, and we've had students that are literature majors that have run, presidents of siege chapters before. So
Yeah, just gonna point out like what Nicholas placed on the chat is in incentives. So Nicholas, by the way, new chapter, Emory University. Nicholas is here, so say hi everyone. Yes, in mentioning instead of maybe a penalty, thinking about incentives. It's definitely a way to go. It's something that I've also been thinking around at my current job. It's incentivizing going here, because people have a life and it's like, well, what's the benefit of attending this? So we got to think about incentives and creative ways to get people to actually want to go. And Susan also placed a suggestion, partnering, yes, and that's also one of the recommendations we give even before you start a SEEDS chapter is, well, look around, what are the other clubs doing? Because you may be duplicating the effort and you might be better off joining forces. So again, it also depends on your audience, but I want to share my screen. I'm going to go to those success stories, but I want everyone to see the screen, see this tarantula. I think I'm not an expert in this, but so what is going on here? They're throwing, what is that?
So we were doing something called roach catching, basically.
Okay.
The man there, he's the CEO of the Insectarium, basically, and he would just throw the roach, and it doesn't do anything to hurt them or anything.
Okay.
And you can go around and try to catch them, basically.
Okay, I was just, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I was just sharing some of the pictures at the Insectarium. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, so besides, you shared your challenges. So do you have any, I guess, success stories and tips for the other chapters?
Yeah, we definitely learned that if we did want to have people show up, it had to be something fun and like not super education. It's education, but it's not like academic education.
Right.
So the events that we did, we had the most turnout for were ones that also provided incentives like prizes and paint a pot where you get to take your pot home. But just like making it fun. I think the Philadelphia Insectarium was fun for everybody. It's really interesting. The Manual Orator was super excited about it and taught us a lot about bugs too, in a way that was like interactive and fun. So I guess, the best way to really engage people is to just make it something that they can kind of relax at after being at school all day, and make it, a friendly space and all of that.
Yeah, and would you say that perhaps even those more, like, they both take a lot of planning, of course, but maybe those are a little bit more simple, more laid back, like painting a pot or a pizza night or a trivia night. It's you have more chances of success. Timing also is key, right? Especially if you're a new chapter, but maybe that's a better way to kind of get a more build your membership base, you think, rather than organizing maybe a day-long event.
Yeah, absolutely. Short and sweet and to the point is easy for everybody, including myself. And we, like, for trips that we had longer, like to the Insectarium, it was about a half-hour drive out of the city.
Wow.
We did that on a Sunday, so it was
Right.
hopefully easy for people to come.
Mega.
Hi, I'm the chapter president for the UC Davis seats, and I wanted to say I completely understand your struggles. We've also been facing our own, and I really did like the idea of like going to places outside, like a terrarium. We had our own trip to the marine base at Bodega, and we're gonna have a camping trip, like what Fred Abbott said, to Tahoe this weekend. got a bunch of people for that. Usually where we struggle is getting drivers for it and people who want to drive, especially with gas prices coming up from our end too, because we're entirely funding. We get like sponsorships or funds. It's quite hard. But some things that we do try to look out for is try to reach every subsect of people who might be interested. So we've had like grad student panels and professor dinners with Dr. Gemma right here. So people who are more research oriented can come and find something they'd like. And then we have something that's completely low stakes for people who have not much like information on ecology. We've gone on hikes or like Buda Creek trips on campus where you can just look at campus and have someone guide us. So this is something that's a common ground for everyone. And they don't feel like they're, you're gonna go there and be bombarded with information that they had no prior knowledge of. And we found that like, if you pick a few people from here and there, at the end, you end up having a lot of people with varied interests coming to your club. And that has been quite helpful, I feel.
Thank you so much, Mega. Yes, like finding those connections, local resources, and thinking smarter, not harder. But it's always an evolving process. So it's during these conversations that we get fresh ideas, and that's why we as staff, we kind of look at you guys to share your comments, because we're not in university settings, so we have very limited information. We have our own ideas, but we could be like, that's just not a possibility in our institutions, and what are you talking about? So yeah, feel free to talk to one another. Of course, we're here for support, but it's great that, yeah, idea sharing. Well, thanks, Dimple. I'm gonna move to my screen again. Move to UC Riverside. UC Riverside, they planned, their project was a Santa Cruz Island research project and field trip. They made a website. I mean, they have videos, and they also submitted a late-breaking abstract for ESA's annual meeting in Montreal. So again, I have the link to their Instagram there. And by the way, I do share the recording of this video and PowerPoint to the Seeds Slack. If you don't have access to that, let me know. I cannot add you, but I can share links so you can join yourself. And anyway, I post this video recording and PowerPoint there. So
Cindy, sorry, Cynthia, you have a question?
Yeah, so how much of this project was done by the students and how much of it was done by the faculty advisor? You know?
you see Riverside,
we can't
guys
get any momentum to do something like that. I mean, because we have a whole turnover in our officers every single year. So we might not even have anybody in the club in the next year who was in the club the year before. So it's kind of hard.
So I can answer that. So I'm the vice president of the Seeds chapter at UCR. Our president, Rhea, is also here. It has been challenging. I think that I don't want the like photos and the website that look super cool to distract from the fact that there were a lot of challenges in organizing the trip. I will say that, so we did organize our own trip. So the student leaders organized the logistics of travel to Santa Cruz Island. We wrote our own protocols to do the research project on Santa Cruz Island. We also organized like the carpooling and the travel. And we organized training workshops throughout winter quarter 2022 of this year to train the 7 other students who are not leading the trip on how to do the research for this project. So in that sense, we did organize it ourselves. However, that being said, the skills that the project required were well beyond what students would gain even in their classes, at least at UCR, in terms of doing research. And so we consulted very frequently with 3 faculty advisors as well as graduate student mentors. So in terms of writing the protocols, we showed that to our grad student mentors and our faculty advisors. In terms of dealing with interpersonal, like teamwork, collaborative issues, we also were advised by our SEEDS chapter advisor primarily on that. And in terms of technical aspects of the project, like plant species composition, sampling, and issues with how to deal with the data quality, all of those things were very much supported by faculty mentors. So to answer the question, I think it's a combination of both. In terms of the continuity, we essentially restarted our chapter last year. So while it was online, we did have, I want to say, at least half of a year of, that's, Rhea, you agree, right? Two quarters of time to like get situated and take care of a lot of the basic logistics of having like create, like, getting our organization registered with the university, that we had to re-register in terms of getting funding through the university that we did last year, building collaborative tools like a Google Drive and email, all the kind of like small organizational things that are really critical. We did that last winter and spring quarter. And then we spent essentially all of fall quarter, of course, applying for the chapter grant, but also applying for another grant and applying for funding through our Center for Conservation Biology, which is like a research unit. So yeah, there was a lot of like background work that went into planning this. It's only like a couple of days that we spent on the island, but in terms of when we started preparing for this project in particular, it was fall 2021, training all of winter 2022, and then going on the trip at the end of winter 2022. And now in this quarter, and for us in spring, we're still like finishing the project. So it's definitely like a year-long affair, if not more. Rhea, did you want to add anything?
No, I think you got it all. It's I think it's just, as long as we had like a good group of participants that wanted to continue and were like they had the time to do the training and the post-trip work. So I think that it was just, we were lucky in that way.
That's great. Well, I think it's just awesome that you did this, and it's really wonderful to see. So congratulations and good luck with the rest of it. I'll look for you at ESA.
I just wanted to add one thing, which is also that like doing this has really improved our continuity. So we were really afraid we wouldn't have enough officers going into next year. But because we did this trip, we actually found 2 new students who want to be officers for next year and have applied. And so now we're not afraid of having enough officers. We have enough students that are heavily involved and have enough experience to continue. So I think doing this project along with other ones, it was hard to get it started, but I think now that we have the momentum, it will build up for a successful continuity.
That's great. And that's what research is all about, right? This idea, it can take just a second to come up with it, but then you notice that it just takes longer and longer and longer and longer. It's not just planning it. After you do it, then it's the statistics, and it's the analysis, and it's like the writing, and then the posters, and then everything else that comes along with it. But then looking back, it's so worth it. So just glad to hear about this journey. And again, that you had this idea and you sought help, resources, and assistance, because you can't do it alone. You can't do research alone. And science really is a collaborative thing, especially when you're working with ecology. But was it Fred? You've always mentioned is it the science of interactions? So it's a perfect example. I still want to share your video though. May I? It's on YouTube, I mean, and it's so fun. So I'm just gonna do that. Let me. I think that's Karen.
I can't really hear the audio. I don't know if you guys can.
Yeah, we have no audio. Looks like a fun video though. Yes, Sandra, if you don't mind, if you can post the link on the chat. Because it sounds like I can hear faintly some music in the background. And that looks like a very steep hill. Are there a lot of ticks on the island? I noticed everybody had like the tick tuck on their socks.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, but yeah, with the video is even better. But yes, thanks for sharing that. Brady. So yeah, I don't know, anything else, any other questions for the UC Riverside or Temple Seeds?
Right, if there's not any further questions, we do have some announcements for the next academic year. So it looks like we'll be hosting a Seeds. Oh, Jenny, do you have a question?
We have our UC Davis chapter here, and they got one of the chapter grants. So if there's time, I think Mega could very quickly talk about stuff they did. But okay, if there's not enough time.
No,
No.
it's
We do.
it's supposed to be an hour and we're way below the hour, so.
We do, Jenny. That was me stepping in and trying to kill time, and like preview for next. So yes, definitely, we can totally have Davis talk about their project.
Thank you so much. Yes, we did get the chapter grant for our annual Tahoe trip. UC Davis does have a research center at Tahoe, so we're planning on going this weekend, having a little tour, camping with all of our new friends, and then having a good time. So most of us who are planning this trip have not personally been on it. So if anyone has tips on how to conduct a camping trip, they're most welcome over here. We realized that it's a huge undertaking, and it's been a really eye-opening experience to figure out all the moving parts when it comes to food, transportation, especially for food dietary restrictions, and how to accommodate that when you're going somewhere where you don't necessarily have ready access. Good snacks. If you have any specific suggestions for good snacks, we will definitely try them out. But yeah, we've really been grateful for the grant to also raise more money for food. We had our own Seeds concert recently where we invited a few local bands to come play, and then we fundraised a little more money for the trip that way. That's some things that we did. Another thing was that I remember we were talking about collaborations with other clubs before. There's a rewilding club on campus that works on reintroducing native species, and we had a collaboration hike walk with them, and that was great. We had a lot of people from our club and theirs, and it was a good bonding opportunity for us. We really like the idea of painting the pot and pizza, and we're gonna try to get that next year. And yeah, I think for now, those are the biggest things. And also speaking of offices transitions, one thing that we found was helpful was that when we did do our reflections with all the officers about what we felt went right and went wrong, we've also decided to change the officer descriptions a little for the incoming year, where we thought that their workload was, they felt like they're taking more, or they felt like they could do more. We realized we could just make a new position, the power's in our hands. And so that's exactly what we did. And we're hopeful that this change would be more conducive for better opportunities for our members next year. But that's it from us. Thank you.
Thanks, Maya. That's great. And I placed the link to UC Davis. That's so cool. The concert. This is cool every time. You guys surprise me with. I didn't have that when I was in college. Yeah, but I noticed your suggestions of the RACI, I don't know if that's the way you pronounce an RACI matrix, and SMART goals. Yes, to have that reflection. So those are great tips. Thank you.
Sorry, just to add one more thing. This is something the outgoing officers of last year did that I personally really appreciated. So during our orientation meeting for the officers, they had this session where we did nice messages to each other. So we had anonymous Google Forms. So everyone had to give one nice message to every other officer. And we didn't know who sent it, but as someone, I didn't have a lot of experience with Seeds before I joined. And to find that the rest of the officers were so nice and, so complimentary, really set the tone for the rest of the year. And I appreciated it more than they could have imagined. So that might be helpful for someone out there.
Of course.
That's a great idea. Who doesn't need a good message of encouragement? And as somebody that puts quite a few field trips together, I can tell you plenty of tips and tricks on how to manage a group and ensure that they have a good time. One of them being, by the way, don't overschedule. People need time to move, and moving to a group of 20 plus people around takes time. So getting people in the car might take up to 15 minutes. So prep that, always having free time to wiggle around the schedule is a great thing when managing your large group of people. And the other thing, snacks. Snacks keep college students happy. So you can go healthy, you can have like fruits and stuff around, or then always a great combination of salty for the, hikes and outdoor activities, and then sweet for the evenings and bonfires. I'm guessing Tahoe is going to be still pretty cold. How is it currently? Are you guys looking at the weather? That's a big factor for people that like to be prepped for the weather. Spending one cold night makes it a miserable day the next day.
Well, I wish you all this weekend. It sounds like fun. I haven't been to Tahoe myself. So.
Oh, it's a horrible lake in like this crazy state called California.
Yes, just at the visuals from Riverside, you see Riverside. It's just like, what am I missing?
It's a beautiful place.
I'm sure it is. Well, anything else? Fabiola, I'm just gonna, Edith, you guys are from other SEEDS chapters. Anything you want to share? Any learning experiences or success stories that happened during this academic year, or certain highlights that happened maybe during the spring semester if you use the semester schedule? Anything that you'd like to share now looking back?
Sure. I don't know if Eddie wants to go first or whatever.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, hi. So regarding our chapters, well, first of all, the videos that they show of the trip all of that was amazing. So it showed you guys have a great time doing all this stuff. Well, one of the things we face, I think the first semester from August to January was like doing all the paperwork, organization, the documentations for the university. That takes time, right? And not like, I think one of the most important things, first of all, sorry, hopping from that topic, is like the communication and all the team that we have. Sometimes things did not got the message really clear, and that like made not all of the planning successful. So in that case, I think this semester I reflected on that on the vacation, and this last month was like very successful in a chapter. We did a lot of activities, so I'm very happy for that. Yesterday I was submitting the last report to the university, and like seeing all the things that we done, comparing for the first semester, is like the evolution of the chapter, more people involved, getting to know their life in UPR Bayamon, UPR. Well, it's one of the littlest chapters of clubs. So like this last month, we have made noise, and like the university has like post stuff of us. We participated in an open house. So that was great because we interact with seniors and like giving them the perspective of an undergrad when you're coming from high school. So that was very great. Also, well, winning the Bio Blitz was something very special this semester. Right now here, I don't know, right over there, but in Puerto Rico, we still have the COVID protocol. So we wear masks, we have the restrictions. So having this semester for the first time after 1 or 2 years, the Bio Blitz present with other students, like that was a very fun activity. A lot of people got involved in different areas, playgrounds that they didn't even know they exist at the university. So they had a lot of fun. Even if we were just like hanging out, we just invite people new and they participated, downloaded that app, and it was such a great time. Also having the advisors working with us, the past president of one of the year. It was really a great time. I'm very happy for, well, all the success that happened in the last month. Like sometimes I think we as the presidents of the chapter, we make a lot of pressure to us, and we like ask ourselves, are we doing enough? Or and then like seeing all the results at the end is just a very satisfying thing to experience. So yeah, I'm very happy for that. And congratulations to all of it.
Yes, and Faya, did you go to the field trip or no? I don't think.
No, I couldn't go, but
Okay.
two of the directive personnel went and 5 of the students. So yeah, it was fun. They all had a great time. They sent me all the pictures and videos. So I was sad that I couldn't go because I work, but they had fun for me.
Yeah, so yay. No, we're glad that, you know, even members were able to attend, directive and officials were able to attend, but now, you know, for next time, you can organize your own now that you have this experience and you have perhaps this momentum. If you have any ideas of field trips that you would like to do, or any of you, this applies to all of you, just let us know how we can support you. So
sure, thank you.
Thank you, Fabiola. Edith. Yes.
Hi, everyone. So for those who don't know me, my name's Edith, and I'm part of the Elmhurst chapter, which is like 20 minutes away from Chicago, Illinois. And this was our first year as a chapter. I'm president. I was able to be one of the founding members along with my faculty advisor. And we kind of hit the ground rolling with getting like a bunch of students to sign up. But we did see an issue of keeping students engaged like throughout the year, just because of like, you know, midterms and finals and exams. So that was like a little bit of a problem. But we were able to do like continue our volunteering to this like Elmhurst Park District, which is like down the street, where every third Saturday of every month, we were able to volunteer and remove invasive plant species and plant like native seeds in a prairie path, Illinois prairie path. And prairies are very like rare now. So that was really nice. And, you know, the people that did show up were very committed. You know, they would take out like 3 hours of their Saturday morning to come and help out. So we continued to do that in the spring semester. And we also had our field trip, thanks to the grant money. We were able to travel to the Morton Arboretum, which is in Lisle, Illinois. It's a really big arboretum with many species, and we were able to connect with one of the tree researchers there, and they were able to show us how to like measure phosphorus in the soil and do experiments with that. And then we were able to look at the tree roots and kind of like put them on slides and stain them and look under a microscope and see like how the root structures are for the different species that they were doing research on. So that was really, really cool. We had like a decent turnout. Some people did call off like the day of because they weren't feeling too well, which is good because of COVID, but it was a good turnout. The only bad thing was it was the Friday before spring break. So a lot of people couldn't go because they were out of town. So that was like on us because we didn't think about spring break because we were so like, yes, we're gonna have it on this Friday. Like it's gonna be so much fun. But it was really cool. And lastly, during the Student Leadership Awards here at my university, our chapter was awarded the Making a Big Difference Award, which is really exciting. So they recognize that our chapter made a really big difference in the community as well as in the schools. And it was just really rewarding to see like all of our hard work being paid off, like all the Saturdays that we volunteered and then the field trip and just having these meetings and just telling people about like diversity and about like ecology and showing them that there are careers in ecology was really nice and rewarding. So yeah, our chapter got that award and it was really exciting. The trophy is going to be with my advisor since she like helped us out so much. But other than that, yeah, it's been a really successful first year and I'm hoping that next year will be even better, especially with like COVID restrictions being lifted more and more each day. So yeah. Let's see the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Edith.
Thank you.
Elmhurst University EU Seeds chapter, also a new chapter, also awarded the grants. So similar situation to Temple. So it's just great to hear the success story, but also the journey, which is, it's never straight. It's has its ebbs and flows, ups and downs. So that's great. Anybody else? I know we're may considerate of everyone's time, and I know we're just short few minutes to be 6 p.m. on the East Coast. Anybody want to have any other closing remarks, comments? Oh, sure, Claudia. How are the Warhawks?
I'm sorry, I'm like our president, he can't make it today. So he is graduating, or he just graduated. And so he can't come today. So that's what's just me here right now. Like we have this semester has been our first active semester. And we, as everybody also, and I'm glad to hear that, we're having issues getting active members. You know, when we do like events, we had a first like interest meeting and offered pizza. Yes, students came and loved the pizza and they were interested and signed up for things, but then fortunately it's hard to get them out and come back again. So that hasn't been very successful yet, but we're doing some really nice projects, I think. So what we proposed in the grant is to make like a signage. So our campus has a larger outdoor area where people use it for hiking and just recreation. And we're doing like a lot of projects in those areas now. And so students now, they set up a educational kind of quiz, interactive quiz, where people, so trees or plants are labeled with QR codes. People can try to identify them. If they don't get it, they scan the QR code, get directed to a web page where you can then read a lot of information. And so we finally have all the web page information ready. Our web designers are working on putting it together. Students started setting up the first posts in the woods, you know, where the QR codes will be attached to. And they made contact with our language department. And so because one of the suggestions was to do this bilingual. And now we're starting a new collaboration where like students over the summer and the fall semester, they will work on translating the informational texts we put together about the different projects or the plans we want to display. And so other students who take like Spanish, they will work then as class projects on translating those so that we can put it all in Spanish on the web pages too and on the displays. And we also now we have some really handy people in our group. And so they're started on working, putting together an entrance kiosk for this natural area that we have on campus, so that we have like a starting point for all the hikes where we can display information, we can have a map and all those things. So, and we're doing this with just like a handful of students right now, just because we don't have many, but we are optimistic that it will get more in the future. Like as we, you know, as we do these projects and people see more what's happening there, that they get more and more interested. We were very excited, at least our facilities team on campus, who can be a little bit tricky, right? They love their mowed lawn down here. They are not the big fans of natural areas, but they even came now and said, oh, wow, the Warhawk seeds, you guys are doing really good, and take some fruits. So that's really nice. That's nice to see that the administration is really starting to like the things what the students do. So that's that. Nothing is complete yet, but it's all in the making.
No, just glad to see the process and can't wait to see pictures and of how the signs are going and all of that. So all the best. And I think Claudia, you might have, you can network through this meeting as Susan.
Yeah, I wanted to cry out to Susan. Hi, Susan.
I want to hug you, Claudia.
Don't hug me. I have COVID.
Okay.
Oh, no.
It's horrible. That's why I'm like.
Claudia was a researcher at Tyson Research Center at WashU, and then went off to bigger and better things, and we are just stumbling upon each other in here. So the world is
There
very
you
tiny.
go.
I love it.
Mega, I see your hand is raised.
Just really quick, it seems that every chapter seems to have quite a lot of events that didn't get a lot of reception, but like 1 or 2 star events that really did. Would it be okay if we could make a master doc of what worked for every chapter, and so that if something worked really for Santa Cruz, we could try it in Davis. Hopefully that would help engagement over here. I feel like that might help.
So Megan, that's an amazing idea, and reason number 1 why we need those reports. So we need to know what activities worked. We need, that's exactly the type of information that we want to be able to create and share with the rest of the network. But to be honest, for the last 2 years, we've received 0 reports. So we need to get back on that track, and we need to go back to the years of like, that was really important data for us to decide. And so there's been a transition recently, you know, with diversity programs, specifically in sciences. And so for many years, kind of the chapters didn't have the support that we wanted to provide for them. And that has recently changed, as if somebody donated $250,000 for our chapter network. So that is what we're trying to develop. So we have the resources. There is the pot of money. We really want to develop activities that students are engaged in, replicate those across the entire network. One of the communities that I get to work with is the virtual field trip, in which, you know, one of the programs that I was brought in to hopefully be able to replicate is, can we be more inclusive during our field trips? You know, let's be honest, there's not much sustainability in, you know, traveling with a bunch of students across the US to, like, you know, explore unique ecosystems. And so how can we provide these experiences, but yet be more sustainable, you know, reach a broader audience other than, you know, the 20 odd students participating in person. So yeah, so we are developing new activities that we wish that, you know, students would hopefully engage. And it's like, I'm trying for them to come up with the money to do it VR. So like, if we can send VR sets to each of our SEEDS chapters and have them be kind of a pilot for this experience, and see what, you know, other students on campus think about it, what people outside of campus think about it, people, you know, non-science majors. So things are coming down the pipelines that are really interesting, and yeah, we want to roll it out to the network, but we really do need those reports, right? So we can stay in touch with the student leaders, so we can stay in touch with the proper faculty advisor. And yeah, that's important.
So do the reports come out just once a year at the end?
We're trying to get them to be at the beginning of the year. So
Okay.
this time we're rolling it out, but next semester we'll hopefully have, so we can get a full student list and see how big the network is and see how many students we can actually reach. Part of the importance of SEEDS and how we do the program is targeted advertising, right? So we really do want to target advertise for our SEEDS chapters and have SEEDS chapter students apply for these opportunities that we are going back to in person, and with, you know, travel awards and sponsored field trips, leadership meeting experiences, and so forth. I kind of hinted to that at the beginning of the call, and we're right at the timeline. But I will say that, yes, we're definitely going back to in-person. We're hosting a leadership meeting next fall, in which a lot of our SEEDS chapter students and grant recipients will get to nominate a student to attend. The location of that meeting had recently changed. Turns out that we're moving it to the desert in Tucson, Arizona, which is super cool still. The theme of the meeting is actually evolving. So I'm putting that together with, you know, incoming President Sharon Killeen, who's moving from institutions, and that's why the recent move. I thought we were doing it in Colorado. It turns out she's moving to Tucson. So we're moving the meeting there too. We're hosting a regional field trip in California with the Stanford chapter at the Jasper Ridge Biological Reserve. Jorge Ramos is helping me put that together. And then we have a national field trip that we are trying to roll out to Harbor Brook, which has been in the making for a long time. That was like a pandemic trip that got canceled. So learning about watersheds in Northeast at Harbor Brook and bringing students in and exploring New Hampshire. So that's kind of what's in for SEEDS for the pipeline. We're actually hosting our first international meeting in the last 10 years. ESA is going to Montreal in August, and we do have a group of 25 undergraduate and graduate students that will be in attendance to this meeting thanks to SEEDS funding. And some of them are on the call. So congratulations for getting those emails. I'm really excited to be hosting you guys come August in Montreal. And I know Sandra has other closing remarks. So I hope that gets you guys excited for next year.
I was just gonna add, Mega, around the comment of making like a document. Feel free to do one and start one and then share it in the Slack, for example.
Yeah, we can start the conversation on Slack and then keep posting underneath there.
Yes, so we still need the chapter reports, but if you guys feel free to, you know, have the, you can, you know, if you want to start, hey, we should start a Google Doc with all these great ideas, like feel free to share it through the Slack. And the reason why I mentioned the Slack is because email is overwhelming, and just trying to think of like a unified, centralized place where you guys can connect with one another, and we are also there. And Slack is right now the place to do that. So you can certainly, I would encourage you to do that there. But yes, the reports are important, but that's I know it's internal, but if you want to connect, network, share emails, and whatnot, Slack is, you know, ask questions, all that. And we're 4 minutes ahead. So anyway, to start, a couple of reminders. Yes, please submit your chapter reports. This is for all chapters by May 31st. And please respond to the Zoom survey that should appear on a web page after the Zoom meeting is over. We do read them and take that into consideration when we plan our future events. So as always, what you say is key for us, and what we do in the summer. So that's all, guys. So thanks again.
All right. Bye, folks, and congratulations to those that are graduating. Again, keep in touch with the program, and I hope to see you as alumni at the annual meeting or at other SEEDS events. Take care.